back to Pellets for Politics, a show where we take the complexity out of politics and make it palatable for you. With me, your host, TJ Maslela. Welcome to the show. In today's show, we're going to be discussing the African economic movement, how it came about, how we can get involved, and what they're trying to achieve. More than that, in support of Palestine, we have decided, with our flag here, to shoot it and stand in solidarity with Palestine. So, Mr. Adams, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a great honor to be part and parcel of the show.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So, can you walk us through how the movement came about, and also just about, start with a bit about yourself and how you guys got here?
Okay, so I actually grew up as a young man who was actually dedicated to create change in society, one way or the other, you know. And when it came across me being a student, now I started realizing the problems and situations that learners face on a day-to-day. And I'm thinking, okay, SRC is the way to go, but SRC does not actually tackle the problems as it is. You know, it takes time to actually get to the right people. So as time went on, I'm like, okay, let's rather form this movement called African Economic Movement, where we can actually engage with young people, have access to young people, and let us use the influence that we have and take these necessary matters to these relevant politicians, these relevant organizations that you see, your government departments, you know, your private sector. I mean, one of the key problems that are currently faced now is the issue of unemployment. You know, so those are some of the key factors that we as an organization we are trying to tackle and we are trying to actually solve. So that's how actually African Economic Movement came into place, you know. So we also started analyzing that, okay, this is beyond us, you know. This is where we can actually bring the public into place, particularly young people, because we are young and we believe that young people are the future. So we said, no, young people, come, let's engage and let's see how we can provide solutions for all these necessary problems that we're facing, and let us take them to, you know, either your Department of Higher Education, your Department of Basic Education also, you know, and let's take them also to, if it means we have to march to Parliament, let it be,
Okay.
you know? Yeah.
From a starting point,
Yeah.
African Economic Movement. Are you guys a political party, NGO? Are you guys contesting? Is it just a movement?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your guys'
So it's an NGO, but an NGO in a sense of movement. It's revolutionary in some sense, you know. We are not contesting. We are too young to contest. I believe that one day when the future allows us, we can definitely see ourselves in you know, those type of positions where you have to contest. But for now, we believe that the relevant position is to actually form this movement, and then we are not contesting, we are just providing solutions and trying to get some change into place as a movement.
And in part of your statement, you guys highlighted that looking to work with public departments, which you've also highlighted there.
Yeah.
How has your interaction been? How receptive would you say the departments, the corporates have been in terms of engagement?
You know, we have a few, because I actually tried a bit of the private sector. The private sector, they are very choosy, more especially when they think your movement is politically related in some sort. They don't want to associate themselves with, you know, politics and all that. And they actually misunderstanding the concept, because this is not a political a movement that is associated with, you know, politics. We are not taking a certain political narrative, but instead we are saying these are the solutions, and these are the problems that are faced by young people. As a private sector, meet us halfway, you know. I'm going to give you an example. Which is the unemployment rate of South Africa. In most cases, you find out that when you go to the private sector and you want to work and you apply for a job, they would tell you that no, you need a maximum of 5 years experience. You know, how am I going to get the 5 years experience when I just went out of university? So we are trying to come up with a solution to say no. Rather, let's at least, you know, approach this matter. I know for a fact that if there's a law implemented that forces the private sector and the public sector to actually admire, not even admire, but rather to commit to that law. They will definitely sit down and follow those laws. So if there is a law implemented or a bill implemented to say, let's move experience rather, and then bring in these young people. These young people will gain experience within the job. I mean, let's be honest. Internship does not guarantee you a permanent job, does it? And the private sector, they intend to overuse, that method of internship. You would work for internship for 5 years, and then after 5 years, not even 5 years, but rather let's say a year and a half. And then after a year and a half, they tell you, okay, your job is done, And then they get another intern, and that's one way whereby it's a solution for them to not even pay higher salaries. So we are trying to come up with solutions to say, let there be a law, a bill implemented to ensure that we remove experience that will force the private sector to cooperate. We've spoken to some private institutions, when they start hearing some political language here because they believe it's like it's politics, they shut you down from the get-go, But we are not going to give up. We are still going to fight it. We are still going to engage with political leaders, engage with some political leaders. They are interested, So it's just a matter of gaining that momentum and trying to push this narrative.
And the youth, our peers,
Yeah.
how has they taken in terms of participation? Because there's a narrative that youth are not that interested.
Most definitely.
How's your experience been?
So since this movement has launched just recently, we have been engaging with some of the young people. Some of the young people are interested. Some of the young people, they are not really interested because, like I've mentioned, they are thinking it's another political narrative that is trying to get votes. But we are not about votes. We are about educating young people about the importance of participating in these type of institutions, that can create solutions, that can provide solutions. We are still on the ground force. For example, we are actually trying to implement a program where we educate young people with the importance of voting. And we want to work with other non-profitable organizations, quite big ones. For example, Not in My Name International is one of it, And we want to come up with a program where we will collaborate with, if it has to be the IEC, then let it be the IEC. We go to various schools, institutions of higher learning, and we engage with students and say the importance of voting. We're not saying vote for a certain political party, but we are saying vote for a political party that serves your interest. Review their manifestos, and then from then, you will take a decision from that. I think we can start there, and then from then, it will give us the momentum because people would have known about us even more, to tackle these issues. But definitely, this is what African Economic Movement is all about.
So let's say we've got a viewer there, Thabo, who's got a great idea. How does Thabo there take that idea to you guys and move forward? What's the process?
The process, okay. So
From
we have
idea, next step.
Most definitely. So what we have is we've got a social media page, African Economic Movement on Instagram, on Facebook. We've got an email address. If Thabo has a brilliant idea, or Nzako, or Linda, if they've got all these beautiful ideas, then they can get a hold of us on all these social media pages, or our email. And then we've got the leadership of the organization that's running that page on 24/7. So definitely your message will be in safe hands, and definitely we can schedule a meeting with this wonderful young people, and then we engage with them. It's not our idea, it's theirs. We are trying to promote that. We are not an organization that steals ideas, but we're an organization that promotes ideas. So they can get a hold of us on those social media pages, and then we definitely will take those ideas, engage with them. If it means we have to sign any form of documentation to prove that this is your idea, then let it be. But we as an organization, we will stand with them and will ensure that this idea is fulfilled.
So, as youth, we've got ideas. We've got movements like yourself.
Yeah.
One would also argue that government has never really had an issue with policy. Maybe ideas, but policy, they haven't really had an issue. Biggest issue has been implementation. And here it seems like we're addressing this side, but how do we now, and your movement in particular, encourage youth on the other side to say, let me go work in government, let me help be part of the capacity that I want to see in government? How would you guys go about, or at least encourage
Yeah.
to go about
So, working in government is not an easy task. It similarly goes to what we call implementation of government policy. It's not an easy task. There are processes that needs to be met. There are procedures that needs to be met. So in most cases, what we do, we try to come up with a way that is so sufficient to convince young people. For example, I don't know if you have followed my page, where I've engaged with a lot of leaders. I feel like the starting point is there. I don't have to be part of government for me to address a matter or to change a policy or anything, but instead, I must be part of the discussions that government have as an organization, And I believe that the young people must also be part and parcel of the decision making that we see in all these institutions. I mean, recently we've seen with the BRICS Youth Summit, young people who owned various organizations similar to ours, they were there. They were providing solutions, they were advocating for young people, and they ensured that the message is sent across. The most important part that young people must also know that this thing, as much as it might look easy, it might look like we can do it, it's a process on its own, And so these processes must be followed, these processes must be met, and we must meet together and ensure, as long as, even if we come up with a way right now, that way definitely will work, but we might not even see the results now. You might see the results after 2 years or 3 years of that particular issue that we are facing. But the end goal is to fight that battle and win the battle. So I don't have to work in government for me to address matters, but I can work with government leaders, and engage and be in rooms where they're discussing opportunities and decisions that are made. We have to be part and parcel of those decision making.
No, that's brilliant. I applaud the initiative, the resilience, and I hope you keep going at it.
Yeah.
But lastly, you have a podcast. Walk us through.
Podcast. Politics with Adams is at first it was a political podcast, but it's still a political podcast. We engage with political leaders.
A competitor.
And I believe, my brother, that there's no competition in the podcast world. We are here with the intention to send a message, out there, by bringing these people into place. So the Politics with Adams is doing a similar job, where we are bringing leaders in place, we are questioning them, and we're also holding them accountable in some sort, and saying, you promised people this, what's going on? And we also had incredible leaders such as at the time she was an acting judge, and now she's a judge of the Northwest High Court Division. We have advocates that are there that come and form. I mean, we're also now, if you could see the poster that we released, we're interviewing a head of infrastructure development program under the Development Bank of Southern Africa, So we are not saying we're focusing on politicians, but we're focusing on people that can actually engage with us and provide solutions, and we can also provide opportunities for young people. I mean, I get a lot of DMs from young people who are saying, you're doing a brilliant job, who are saying, can you please ask, who president of, ATM, or president of Arise Mzansi or Arise SA, or whoever that might be the guest, ask them these relevant questions. And I believe that for us to get across as young people this message is for us to also open the initiative for young people to participate within the podcast. So that is the podcast, and that podcast, yes, we might have grown, but we're still going.
Yeah, guys, you heard it. We're going to add all in the bio, you're going to find links to all the pages, including emails where you can contact them. So you should support them. thank you for coming through.
No, thank you for having me. And it was a lovely chat, and I hope to come back once again.
Yeah, no, I'm going to, and then you're also going to have me at some point.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Guys,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Subscribe, like, share. See you again next week.